Walk into any electronics store in 2025 and it feels like paradise. Sleek smart TVs promising brilliant colors, cutting-edge apps, and cinematic experiences. But behind that showroom shine is a brutal truth. Some of these brands are ticking time bombs waiting to fail the moment your warranty expires. We're exposing the ones that glitch, dim, and drain your wallet. Stick around, because the last two brands could save you hundreds and years of buyer's remorse. Coming in at number 8, we've got Philips, the king of glitchy updates and uneven displays. Philips sounds premium, right? European heritage, solid reputation in other electronics, but their smart TVs, they're a masterclass in inconsistency. The Safi and Android TV systems they use are notorious for freezing midstream, apps that crash without warning, and firmware updates that somehow make things worse instead of better. Panel quality is all over the map. You might get a unit with decent brightness, or you might get one that looks washed out straight from the box. It's a lottery you shouldn't have to play at this price point. Backlight bleeding is another common complaint, especially on their budget and mid-range models, turning dark movie scenes into a blotchy mess. The upscaling engine is weak too, making lower resolution content look soft and grainy rather than sharp and detailed. One owner bought a 55-inch Philips for their living room in early 2024. First month was fine. By month 2, the Android interface started lagging so badly it took 15 seconds just to switch apps. By month 4, random vertical lines appeared on the left side of the screen. Support offered a repair that would take 3 weeks. They returned it and switched brands. The appeal of Philips is the name recognition and occasionally competitive pricing. But when reliability is this hit or miss, you're gambling with your money. And we're not even talking about their notorious motion handling issues that make sports look like a slideshow. Philips TVs can look decent in a showroom with perfect lighting and a curated demo reel, but real-world performance? That's where the cracks show. Input lag is all over the place too, making gaming a frustrating experience even in their so-called game modes. Color calibration is inconsistent out of the box, forcing you to spend hours tweaking settings just to get something watchable. And even when you get it dialed in, there's no guarantee a software update won't reset everything and introduce new problems. It's exhausting, unreliable, and ultimately not worth the headache when better options exist at similar price points. Fancy name, frustrating reality, not worth the headache. And trust me, the next brand on this list takes inconsistency to a whole new level. At number 7, Hisense, where every TV feels like a gamble straight from the factory. Hisense has exploded in popularity thanks to aggressive pricing and big box store deals. But here's the thing, you get what you pay for, and sometimes you get even less. These TVs are the definition of quality control roulette. One unit might last you 5 years, another might develop dead pixels or backlight failure within 6 months. The panel uniformity is wildly inconsistent, meaning 2 identical models can look completely different. Their OS performance, whether it's Google TV or their proprietary VDAA system, tends to slow down dramatically after a year of use. Apps take forever to load, voice commands fail randomly, and software updates are sporadic at best. The picture quality itself is a mixed bag. Sure, they throw around terms like quantum dot and ULED, but the actual brightness levels and color accuracy can't compete with premium brands. HDR content often looks flat because the peak brightness just isn't there. And don't even get me started on their sound. Tinny, shallow, and practically begging you to buy a soundbar immediately. Build quality feels cheap too. Thin plastic bezels, flimsy stands, and remotes that feel like they'll snap if you hold them wrong. The whole package screams, we cut corners everywhere we could. What really gets people is the customer service experience. Good luck getting timely support or a straightforward warranty claim. Stories of week-long email chains and denied claims are depressingly common. Hisense positions itself as a value leader, and if you hit the jackpot with a good unit, maybe it's worth it. But when the risk of getting a lemon is this high, why take the chance? You're essentially playing quality control lottery with your hard-earned cash, hoping you don't end up with one of the bad units. Even when they work initially, long-term reliability is questionable at best, with many users reporting issues starting around the 1-year mark, conveniently just after most basic warranties expire. Roll the dice if you want. I wouldn't bet my living room on it. The next brand? At least it has nostalgia going for it. Now, at number 6, Toshiba, a nostalgic name that's struggling to keep up with modern expectations. Toshiba used to mean something. 20 years ago, you'd see that logo and think reliability, innovation, cutting-edge tech. Today, it's a shadow of its former self, licensing out its brand name to manufacturers who clearly don't share the original vision. Most modern Toshiba TVs sold in North America are actually made by Hisense or other third-party companies, and it shows. The Fire TV editions are the most common ones you'll find, and while Amazon's interface is decent, the hardware underneath is underwhelming at best. Colors look dull, black levels are mediocre, and motion handling makes fast action scenes feel like they're stuttering. One of the biggest issues is the lack of real innovation. Toshiba TVs feel like they're perpetually stuck in 2019, basic LED panels, minimal HDR support, and none of the advanced features you'd expect from a modern smart TV. No local dimming zones worth mentioning, no advanced gaming features like VRR or ALLM, and brightness that can't handle a sunny living room. Even their higher-end models feel like budget options with a slightly prettier box. And good luck finding firmware updates or long-term software support. Once they sell you the TV, you're pretty much on your own. The build quality doesn't inspire confidence either. Lightweight plastics, wobbly stands, and that distinctive hollow sound when you tap the back panel. Toshiba's banking on brand recognition from people who remember when they were actually good, but that goodwill only goes so far. If you're buying a Toshiba in 2025, you're essentially paying for a logo that doesn't mean what it used to. The viewing angles are poor, making the picture look washed out if you're sitting anywhere off-center. And the remote, basic, clunky, and missing half the shortcuts you'd expect from a modern smart TV. It's a relic trying to compete in a market that's left it behind. Nostalgia doesn't fix dim screens and sluggish performance. Let's keep rolling, and somehow, this next one's even more disappointing. Before we move on, if you want to make sure you don't waste a bunch of money, hit subscribe and thank me later. Sitting at number 5, RCA, when budget-friendly turns into buyer's remorse. RCA is the clearance aisle champion, the brand that screams, "I'm saving money," until you realize you're actually just flushing it away. These TVs are as bare bones as it gets. We're talking about panels so dim, you'll need to turn off every light in the room just to see what's happening. Viewing angles are laughable. Sit anywhere except dead center, and the colors wash out completely. The Roku interface is the only redeeming quality here, and even that can't save you from the hardware limitations. Streaming apps work, sure, but expect buffering, lag, and occasional crashes that'll have you questioning your life choices. The picture quality is exactly what you'd expect from rock-bottom pricing. Washed-out colors, murky blacks, and a contrast ratio that makes everything look flat and lifeless. HDR support exists on paper, but in practice it's a joke. No brightness headroom means HDR content looks worse than standard dynamic range. And the sound? Imagine 2 tin cans connected by string, then make them quieter. You'll be shopping for external speakers on day 1. Even basic cable TV looks worse on these screens than it should. Bought an RCA for a garage setup in 2023. Even for that low-stakes environment, it was rough. The picture looked fine for maybe 3 months. Then a faint buzzing started coming from the panel. By month 6, the screen developed a permanent gray tint that no amount of calibration could fix. For the price of a couple pizzas more, literally any other brand would have been a smarter choice. Here's the brutal truth. RCA TVs are disposable electronics disguised as home theater equipment. They exist to hit a price point at Walmart, not to deliver a quality experience. If you value your time, your eyesight, or your sanity, spend the extra $100. Cheap up front, expensive in regret. Would you risk it if it was half the price of something decent? Taking the number 4 spot, Element, colorful branding, but not so colorful performance. Element wants you to think they're the young, hip, budget-friendly alternative to the big guys. The reality? They're putting out TVs with hardware that feels like it was rejected by other manufacturers and software that barely holds together. These are Roku TVs at their core, which means the interface is fine, but everything else is a compromise. The panels are dim, colors are oversaturated in a bad way, and the viewing experience feels cheap from the moment you turn it on. Motion blur during sports or action movies is so bad it's almost impressive, like watching a slideshow with extra steps. What's really frustrating about Element is the lack of consistency. Reviews are wildly different because the manufacturing quality varies so dramatically. Some people get a TV that works okay for a year, others have dead pixels, flickering backlights, or complete failures within weeks. It's a gamble and not a fun one. There's no premium tier with Element. Even their best models are just less bad versions of their worst ones. No advanced features, no gaming modes worth mentioning, and absolutely no long-term support or updates. The audio is predictably terrible, producing sound that's tinny, muffled, and somehow both too quiet and too harsh at the same time. And the build quality feels like it was designed to survive shipping and nothing more. Thin plastic, flimsy stands, ports that feel loose the moment you plug something in. Element TVs are the definition of you get what you pay for, except sometimes you get less. If you're buying an Element, you're not making a smart financial decision. You're choosing short-term savings over long-term satisfaction. And in a market where brands like TCL and Samsung exist at not that much higher prices, there's simply no reason to settle for this level of mediocrity. Bright logo, dull performance, skip it. But hold on, because the next one might actually make Element look decent. Coming in at number 3, Westinghouse. Proof that cheap can sometimes mean cheated. Westinghouse is what happens when a once-respected brand gets gutted and sold for parts. The name carries weight from their legacy in appliances and electronics. But modern Westinghouse TVs, they're licensed-out products with no connection to that heritage. These are bottom-barrel panels with minimal processing power and software that feels like it was built in someone's garage. Picture quality is abysmal, washed-out colors, terrible contrast, and black levels that look more like dark gray levels. Even in a pitch-black room, you'll see backlight bleed that turns movies into a glowing mess. The Smart TV functionality, when it works, is painfully slow. Using Roku or Fire TV on a Westinghouse is like running modern software on a computer from 2012. Everything lags, apps take forever to open, and crashes happen just often enough to ruin your viewing experience. And let's talk about brightness. These TVs are so dim that watching during the day with any ambient light is basically impossible. You'll be squinting at your own screen wondering if something's broken. Spoiler. Nothing's broken, it's just that bad by design. Motion handling is terrible too, creating blur and judder that makes sports unwatchable. The remote is flimsy and unresponsive. Customer support is a nightmare too. Most complaints go unanswered. Warranty claims get denied for absurd reasons, and finding replacement parts or service centers is like searching for a unicorn. Westinghouse TVs are designed to be sold, not supported. Once they have your money, you're on your own. People buy Westinghouse because it's cheap, because it's at their local store, or because they recognize the name and assume it means quality. It doesn't. You're paying for a logo that no longer represents what it once did. This isn't value, it's a trap disguised as a deal. Legacy name, bargain bin reality. You've been warned. Have you had better luck with this brand, or am I spot on? Now, at number 2, Scepter, the minimalist's nightmare disguised as a bargain. Scepter operates in that weird space where TVs are so cheap, you wonder if they're even trying, and after using one, you'll realize they're not. These are the kinds of TVs you find at discount retailers with prices that seem too good to be true, because they are. The picture quality is among the worst you'll find from any brand still in business. We're talking limited color gamut, terrible brightness, and viewing angles so narrow that moving your head slightly changes the entire image. Watching a Scepter TV feels like looking at a screen through a layer of fog. The Smart TV features are practically non-existent on most models, and when they do include them, the experience is so clunky you'll want to hook up an external streaming device immediately. Even then, the HDMI ports are temperamental, the input lag makes gaming impossible, and the overall build quality feels like it'll fall apart if you look at it wrong. The stands are wobbly, the bezels are thick and cheap looking, and the remote is so basic it might as well be from the 1990s. There's no app ecosystem, no voice control, and absolutely no premium features of any kind. Response time is sluggish. But here's the kicker. Even at their rock-bottom prices, Scepter TVs aren't worth it. You could spend $50 more and get something exponentially better from a more reputable brand. Scepter exists to fill a void in the absolute bottom tier of the market, targeting people who literally cannot afford anything else or who don't know better. If you have any other option, even saving up for a few more weeks, take it. A Scepter TV will disappoint you in ways you didn't even know were possible. It's the kind of purchase you regret immediately. Rock bottom prices for rock bottom quality, hard pass. And somehow, we've saved the biggest letdown for last. And finally, at number 1, Sharp. Once elite, now just a shadow wearing its old logo. This one hurts because Sharp used to be synonymous with quality. They pioneered LCD technology, produced some of the most respected displays in the industry, and were a go-to choice for professionals and enthusiasts alike. But after financial troubles led to brand licensing deals and manufacturing outsourcing, Sharp TVs became a shell of their former glory. Today's Sharp TVs are made by third-party manufacturers with zero connection to the original company's standards. What you're buying is a logo, not the legacy. The picture quality is inconsistent, panels feel cheap, and the technology inside is usually years behind the competition. Modern Sharp TVs suffer from all the usual budget brand problems: poor brightness, weak contrast, terrible motion handling, and color accuracy that looks off no matter how much you calibrate. The smart TV platforms they use, usually Roku or Android TV, are fine on their own, but the hardware can barely keep up. Apps stutter, menus lag, and the overall experience feels sluggish and outdated. There's no innovation happening here, no push to compete with the industry leaders, just a desperate attempt to ride on brand recognition while delivering bottom-tier products. Purchased a Sharp Roku TV for a bedroom in late 2023. The remote stopped responding to half the buttons within 2 months. By month 4, the screen started showing weird color banding during dark scenes that looked like someone spilled something inside the panel. Contacted customer support and got bounced between 3 different departments before being told it wasn't covered. Threw it out and learned a painful lesson about trusting old names. What makes Sharp the worst is the betrayal factor. People buy Sharp expecting the quality they remember or heard about from the brand's glory days. Instead, they get a product that's barely competitive with the cheapest options on the market. It's not just a bad TV, it's a broken promise wrapped in a familiar logo. Sharp's fall from grace is complete, and there's no reason to pretend otherwise. A legendary name reduced to a cruel joke. Avoid at all costs. Is a shiny name worth all that hassle? I don't think so. Now for the ones that are actually worth it. At number 2, TCL. Smart design, consistent panels, and Roku reliability that punches above its price. After all that disappointment, here's a brand that actually delivers. TCL has quietly become one of the best value propositions in the TV market, offering picture quality and features that compete with brands charging twice as much. Their partnership with Roku means you get one of the smoothest, most intuitive smart TV interfaces on the market. No lag, no bloatware, just clean navigation and fast app performance. But it's not just about the software. TCL's hardware is legitimately impressive. Their QLED panels offer vibrant colors, solid brightness levels, and respectable HDR performance that makes movies and shows pop without breaking the bank. The 6 series is a particular standout, featuring mini LED backlighting with local dimming zones that deliver deep blacks and excellent contrast, something you'd expect from TVs costing significantly more. Even their budget-friendly 4 series and 5 series models punch well above their weight class, offering solid picture quality for everyday viewing. Gaming features are surprisingly robust too, with low input lag, auto low latency mode, and variable refresh rate support on newer models. TCL gets what gamers want and actually delivers it without making you pay a premium. Build quality is solid without feeling over-engineered. The stands are stable, bezels are thin and modern looking, and the overall design feels thoughtful. TCL TVs look at home in any room, from apartments to home theaters. And reliability? Real-world reports show these TVs holding up well over time, with fewer complaints about dead pixels, backlight failures, or random glitches compared to budget competitors. When issues do pop up, TCL's customer service is generally responsive and helpful. Not perfect, but miles ahead of the brands we just trashed. What really sets TCL apart is the consistency. You're not playing quality control roulette here. The panel uniformity is solid across units, performance matches the specs, and you generally get what you expect based on reviews and testing. For the price, TCL offers a level of reliability and performance that makes it a no-brainer for anyone wanting a smart TV that doesn't suck. Whether you're streaming, gaming, or watching 4K movies, TCL delivers without drama, without gimmicks, and without buyer's remorse. Exceptional value, dependable performance, zero regrets. But if you want the absolute best, there's one brand that still reigns supreme, and taking the #1 spot, Samsung, the gold standard of clarity, durability, and trust. When people think premium TV, they think Samsung, and there's a damn good reason for that. Samsung has spent decades perfecting display technology, and it shows in every product they release. Whether you're looking at their QLED lineup, their Neo QLED models with Quantum, Mini LED backlighting, or even their mid-range Crystal UHD series, you're getting industry-leading picture quality. Colors are vibrant and accurate, brightness levels are outstanding even in well-lit rooms, and the contrast is deep enough to make dark scenes look incredible without crushing details. Their HDR implementation is among the best in the business, with peak brightness that makes highlights truly pop. But Samsung isn't just about the picture. Their Tizen Smart TV platform is fast, intuitive, and regularly updated with new features and security patches. The interface is clean, apps load instantly, and voice control actually works reliably. Samsung also dominates in gaming features. Their TVs support HDMI 2.1, 120Hz refresh rates, variable refresh rate, and auto low latency mode across the board on higher-end models. If you're a PS5 or Xbox Series X owner, Samsung TVs are built to maximize your console's potential. And features like Game Bar give you real-time control over picture settings without leaving your game. The build quality is exceptional. Sleek designs, near-invisible bezels, premium materials, and stands that feel rock solid. Samsung TVs don't just perform well, they look like premium products. And they last. There you have it, the brands to skip and the two worth every cent. Don't fall for flashy features and lazy labels. Hit subscribe, and we'll keep breaking down what's real, what's risky, and what's actually worth your money.